And due to the recent downpours in our territory, certain areas near the home are a haven for mosquito breeding, and residents are reminded to take steps to reduce the risk of dengue fever. Historically, the month of October kicks off the rainy season in the Virgin Islands, and that, coupled with the hurricane season, which doesn't end until November, means that residents can expect more downpours. As a result, the Environmental Health Office began visiting communities this week that were designated as hot spots for dengue to treat stagnant pools of water. The method is called larviciding, which prevents mosquito eggs from hatching and kills young mosquitoes, also known as larvae. Beginning Tuesday, October 19, 2010, the environmental health staff will conduct spraying on the islands of St. John and St. Thomas, which the Department of Health has determined as dealing with dengue outbreak. Mosquito abatement will also be conducted on Water Island as well. The Department of Health has increased its previous release scheduled date for mosquito abatement and will alternate the spraying and fogging of areas. Spraying during daylight hours is scheduled to begin at 10 a.m. on St. Thomas and by 12 p.m. on Water Island and St. John. Fogging will occur between the hours of 6 and 9 p.m. Residents will be alerted to any changes in the schedule and caution those with compromised immune systems to stay indoors and close windows at the time of the spraying and the fogging is being conducted. Julia Sheen also reminds residents that they are the first protectors against acquiring dengue fever and should frequently empty containers that collect water around the home. Residents should contact the Environmental Health Division at 773-3107 on St. Croix and 715-511 on St. Thomas, St. John districts to report stagnant pools of water near their homes and their communities. And the fogging will begin tomorrow, Tuesday, on St. John's Cruise Bay and Coral Bay, also on St. Thomas East and North. That's tomorrow, October 19th. Wednesday, October 20th, Water Island and St. Thomas's West and South will be the area of spraying abatement. Thursday, October 21st, will be St. Croix on the east and the north sides of the island. And on Friday, October 22nd, St. Croix's west and south will be sprayed for the mosquito abatement. And a Kentucky commissioner is in hot water tonight. Richie Farmer, a recent Kentucky agriculture commissioner, is being criticized for a trip that he and his staff took to St. Croix recently. News Channel 8's Wes Small has the story.
Kentucky agriculture commissioner Richie Farmer is in a lot of trouble with his home state tonight. He spent over $10,000 on a Caribbean expenditure, a Caribbean trip, if you will, involving agriculture, when most of the state of Kentucky is dealing with budget cuts, worker furloughs, and Medicaid reductions as well. Now, according to the Lexington Herald-Ledger, a local Kentucky newspaper, they did some investigating, and they found that while Agriculture Commissioner Richie Farmer attended the annual meeting of State Departments of Agriculture right here at St. Croix, and he stayed right here at the lovely Buccaneer, which, by the way, is one of the top 10 classic Caribbean hotels. Now, Farmer's aides even treated their wives to airfare, hotel, food, and other related expenses. Now, the only thing that came out of Farmer's pockets was a $100 spa treatment and a $20 tip. That's the only thing. By the way, a typical dinner here at the lovely Buccaneer consists of like $32 for seared tuna, $10 for a slice of banana cheesecake. Don't forget all tips, baggage fees. They even played golf, a trip to the Cruise and Rum Factory, Mango Melee, plenty of shopping. And Richie Farmer is planning to run for lieutenant governor, by the way. He's given up 8 years of his agriculture commissioner post, and he's going to be running on the Republican ticket for lieutenant governor. So I have to tell you, last year they met in Oklahoma, which hosted the event. Now this year, Dr. Peterson hosted the event right here, and it was held, of course, on St. Croix. But little did the locals know that it was going to create this much chaos up in Kentucky. But we're here at Buccaneer, and Richie Farmer could be in a lot of hot water if he wants to further his political career. At Buccaneer, I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.
Thanks, Wes. And when we come back from this break, we'll take a look at your Caribbean report for tonight. Stay with us. And let's take a look at your Caribbean report for tonight. The Organizations of the American States, OAS, is forecasting an increase in human trafficking in the Caribbean throughout the Free Movement of Peoples initiative in the 15-nation Caribbean community of CARICOM. The organization's prediction comes even as several of the region's major tourism destinations are grappling with human trafficking linked to sex tourism. The coordinator for the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Unit of the OAS's Department of Security, Fernando Garcia Robles, told at the opening session of a two-day workshop on trafficking in persons in Georgetown, Guyana, that the position of the region between the two continents make it a prime target for human traffickers. The workshop is aimed at strengthening the capacity of law enforcement, judges, and prosecutors in the Caribbean to identify and combat trafficking in persons, especially of women and children. And St. Lucia's Prime Minister Stephen King says he will not allow criminals to turn his island into a war zone. The Prime Minister has promised to take a tough stand against crime. He said he would put all humans and financial resources to work to ensure that we will deal with the current situation. Stephen King was speaking against the backdrop of a shooting death of an 8-year-old girl in his constituency during the wee hours of Monday morning, as marked gunmen apparently went in search of a teenage witness to a murder. The teenager escaped, but the 8-year-old was killed and her parents were injured. It was the second slaying in the Prime Minister's Castries North constituency in a recent week. Recently, a man was shot as he was on the balcony of Prime Minister Stephen King's constituency office. The Prime Minister was in his office at the time. And a night operation in the Caribbean has resulted in the British Royal Navy nabbing a gang of drug smugglers with cocaine worth $26.9 million. The Navy says it used one of its 5,200-ton warships to sneak up behind the smugglers. Throughout the night operation in the Caribbean, the HMS Manchester stalked a small fishing vessel being used by drug traffickers. According to the Navy, the 3-man crew of the fishing boat remained unaware of the situation as the destroyer drew up to 150 yards from them and then launched its sea boats. On realizing that they were in danger of being caught, the smugglers began hurriedly trying to jettison the cocaine load, but the Navy managed to intercept a total of 240 kilos of drugs. And finally, in Venezuela, Russia has agreed to build Venezuela's first nuclear power plant. The deal, which was signed in Moscow during a visit of Venezuela's President Hugo Chavez, has raised questions as to why the oil-rich country like Venezuela would want to enter into the expense of nuclear energy. Mr. Chavez says the nuclear plant will help reduce Venezuela's reliance on fossil fuels.